Greetings and salutations. It is I, your Lord and Savior, Lord Monarch. This time here with you guys with a special video. This is my first series of videos, my new segment on the channel that is dubbed Voice of the People. Basically, this is a segment of the channel where I will uh do a Q&A or basically just have a conversation with my subscribers, people that I've battled, uh people that I'm cool with, or ultimately people that I know in the real world. I was supposed to do my first ever Voice of the People with Xenon, the guy who I've Wi-Fi battled a couple of times, but uh that dude is MIA. I don't know what the fuck going on with him. I don't know where he is. I don't even know if we'll ever still do the Voice of the People. But hey, what better time or a better someone to do the Voice of the People with my homeboy? Uh Zay. Known
Yo,
this motherfucker since we were fucking kids, bro. Knew this nigga since I was 6 years old, bro. Go way back, bro. So, whenever Xenon is ready to keep his word and do the Voice of the People, cool. I'll always be waiting. But for now, you know what? I think it's best if I do the Voice of the People with my homeboy. So, Zay, say what's up.
so what's going on, chat? What's going on? Let me first say we came a long way. So basically, I've known you, man, for a good portion of my life. I would say like you one of the real OGs of my inner circle. Um, Man, all I can say, man, is all the things we say on here are our opinions. You are free to disagree at any point. Um, and if you got a better perspective on it, don't be shy. Leave it in a comment, like and subscribe. We're still a growing channel. We just want to have fun with it and see where it goes. All right, go ahead.
Facts. All right. So what me and my homeboy, what we're about to talk about is we are about to talk about what has been going on in the Pokemon community and what's also been going on with Pokemon Co. Game Freak. And oh boy, where to fucking begin? Um, Zay, where do you think we should begin with this? Because we've been
Expectations. It started with
expectation.
expectations. As we progress through what Gen 9 was, and we progressing through the light span of pretty much the Switch. What are the expectations of Gen 10? Do we think that it'll have more mons in there? Do we think the graphics would be better? What did we think was going to be the big changer? Um, this is where I bounce the question back off to you. We had a conversation about it, and what was your expectations?
Well, my expectations was due to the complaints of Generation 8, Generation 9, that Game Freak and Pokemon Go, they were finally going to start putting in effort into the Pokemon games. Like Gen 10, the big 30th anniversary. Gen 10 was going to give us hope, going to show us that they're taking the complaints to heart, especially since Legends ZA did not meet the sales quota and ZA literally underperformed Arceus. So to Pokemon Co and Game Freak, Legends ZA is considered a failure in their eyes because it underperformed Gen 9 and it more importantly underperformed Arceus and then all those negative reviews. So I was under the impression that, Coliseum XD Gale Darkness is gonna come to the virtual console. Maybe it's gonna have connectivity to Pokemon Home. Champions was going to be the definitive way of battling. Hopefully, in time, the graphics and animations would have been better than Battle Revolution, or maybe if it wasn't as good as Battle Revolution, you would still have all of the mons, all of the mechanics. Well, hopefully not Dynamaxing, Gigantamaxing. I fucking hate that. But the majority of the mechanics, all of the mons. This was supposed to be the definitive means of battling, and I gotta say, very disappointed. Very disappointed.
With that being said, my my opinion towards that would have been, who told you to have your expectations so high? That
Uh
that that was the problem because they never promised us that. They never promised us that this generation was going to beat, this generation was going to excel in this era. I've noticed that they have focused more on the commercialism side of selling this game more than the content. I feel like uh even going and looking at, I want to say, Scarlet and Violet. The problem with Scarlet and Violet was you sold the story kind of far apart from when you should have. It felt like an incomplete game for a period of months until we got a DLC, and even that felt incomplete until you got to the next step, which nowadays that's what the gaming market is doing. But it's pretty sad to see Pokemon go into that category now because now it limits itself. It won't perform the same way as it used to. We're not, you know, we're not going into the content of the characters. We're not going into the passion behind the designs. We're not going into the little miscellaneous details, the creative side of battling. We're not going into that. Now we're going into this weird platform of trying to build some type of meta based on a controlled variable of what characters can be in what game, which kind of limits the players from playing to their full capabilities, don't you think?
Facts, facts, bro.
So that's my point in why I feel like that one was altogether. It's just sad to have an expectations of past formulas that have worked. They change it and they never decided to listen to the general basis and kind of like touch base on what made them them in the beginning. I want to say, not to sound too cliche, that Digimon is doing exactly that. That's where their success is lying. This new game that they came out with, Time Strangers, has been a good directional start on where they can go. And I'm not making this about Digimon, but it's just the tenacity of the underdog. It's the tenacity to always want to stay true to what made them them and be able to take the place of the dog that was on top, who everybody's betting on. Let's face it, Pokemon is very famous, but who is the targeted crowd? Is the targeted crowd the loyal supporters over the years, or the targeted crowds of the kids of today? Because you'll get more longevity out of the kids of today than you would of anybody that played a 1990 game or a 1994 game or 1995 game.
1996.
1996, like there's just so many different avenues to take with that. And what's y'all opinion? I
You
mean, honestly, I just want to know the general consensus of what Pokemon players feel when they purchase a game that they know is incomplete.
So basically, you want people to comment down in the comments for them to voice their opinions, basically.
True, because when I tell you my honest opinion overall, some may not like it. Some probably will.
That's
But at least
fine. That's fine.
but
Like,
at
tell the
least
truth.
I'm giving the opportunity to put your opinions down so I can understand where you're coming from. But remember, whatever you guys put down, it has to make sense. Don't put down emotions, what you feel about a game emotionally. Put down what you received in the game because you didn't emotionally buy the game. You bought the game with your hard-earned money or money that you've asked for or however you got the game. You bought the game for some type of expectation, some type of standard, and you get it every year to realize it is not the same standard of what it was before. What does that say about the consumer base now? What does that say? You could say that about all the gaming industry, but let's talk about Nintendo as a whole. Well, Pokemon games hardly ever go on sale. Hardly ever go on sale. the good games that are that let's say black and white, hell, black and white too, they can sell for the same price as I want to say Scarlet Violet.
Right.
Doesn't it seem like a financial trap to me, or doesn't it seem a little off that these games that have different levels of quality are being sold for practically the same price?
That's true because let's be honest, Pokemon Sword and Shield, Pokemon Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl. Shit, you could even go ahead and say Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. They are not worth the price tag of 59.99. They are not worth 60 plus dollars, right? And keep in mind we're coming from the DS era where games was sold for 39.99, 40 plus bucks.
I'll
Like,
do you one better. Not
mm,
to interrupt, I'll do you one better.
right.
You're gonna buy a game now. Let's say you wanted to rebuy the game of, let's say, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. You
Mm,
buy the game, you're still buying the game for the same price as you originally would have bought it for, but here's the problem. You're buying it for no connectivity at all.
mm,
You have no connectivity, but you're buying the same game that you would have been able to have connectivity with years ago.
right. In other words, because they shut off the online connection, they shut that off.
Little do they know when they sell it to you and you look on the back, that is a selling point of the game, that it does connect.
Right.
So makes you wonder what the mindset that these people are thinking. And let me tell you this, my opinions on ZA, by the way. I'm trying to see what's YouTube regulated here.
That's fine, bro. Like you want to say faggot, bitch, pussy,
Yeah,
retarded.
scratch all of
Say
those out.
say whatever the fuck you want, bro. This it. Like let me tell you
It,
something. Let me
it
tell you
was a
something.
heaping,
My
it was a,
channel,
it was a, it was a
my
heaping
channel
pile of
bodies
dog
it
shit.
bodies freedom of speech. Say whatever the fuck it is you want here,
All right, all
and
right.
for people to and so that people know the difference. Saying bitch, faggot, retarded. That's not hate speech. Hate speech and y'all could look up the meaning of the word hate speech when you're looking up the First Amendment when it talk about freedom of speech. Hate speech is talk like say if you're using a racial slur or say if you're saying something that is going to invoke physical violence on someone. So if I say bitch, retarded, faggot, you may not like that word. You may not like the fact that I choose to express myself using those words, but that is not hate speech. So y'all need to comprehend, educate yourself on what the fuck the First Amendment is and what hate speech is. Go ahead. Go ahead, brother.
Now, ZA was a heaping pile of shit with sprinkles on the top. And I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because the story piggybacked off of the prequel that never made sense. It never made sense. And what made it so bad is they legitimately made it so your whole adventure, you spent, let's say, 100 plus hours in one city. Some of us have spent 45 minutes on the street.
Mhm.
It's ridiculous. You've taken away the region and you provided us with a city. You've taken away landscape and provided us with uh, uh, being able to be on the roofs of different buildings. That didn't work for me.
Mhm.
The lack thereof of depth to the story was just crazy. We're just basically playing a cleanup to X and Y.
Right.
Um, dear God, the lock on system, the crouch system, like it's so bad. Even saying a move will paralyze the person because they have to make a pose when they use an attack.
Right.
Completely useless. Completely. We're
Makes you
not
open to
catching. This
attacks.
is
Right.
not. Yeah, this is it's bullshit. Um, yeah, it's just there's really nothing I can say. And if you feel like I'm lying about any of this, then you've obviously haven't played the game. I can clearly tell you've just never played the game. And people on here like to have opinions and never played the game. It's crazy. Waste your money so you can understand what we wasted our money on too.
Or
Just
just
saying.
watch my Let's Play. Just watch my fucking Let's Play. I literally
Do that.
piss and shit on this fucking game while I'm doing my Let's Play. But yeah, like right. So I'm gonna elaborate like what Zay said. So the lock-on system with Pokemon Legends is EA. It's dog shit. Why is it dog shit? Um, well, number one, you have to constantly press and hold the lock-on button to lock on to an opponent. If new opponents, new targets pop up, lock on system automatically shuts off. And then when you try to lock on to the previous opponent, when you hit the lock on button, you just lock on to random enemies. So you have to keep locking on, locking off until you get your previous opponent. Uh,
Uh,
what a lot of video games, whether it's a JRPG or whether it's an action game, when it comes to locking on to targets, when you lock onto a target, you don't have to press and hold the lock on button. You just click it the one time you lock onto an opponent. If you lock onto an opponent that you don't want to lock onto, while you're still locked on, you could target other opponents. And you could do that with either the analog stick or pressing a button, and you will target other targets. And you could do that without locking off of a previous target and then locking back on randomly. And there are even some games that will put you in a moment of a pause menu, so to speak, where like nothing is moving, so you could properly lock on to the enemy that you want to lock on to. That could have been something easy that Pokemon could have implemented into ZA. They did not do it. Another issue, like what Zay said, the crouching button. I wouldn't even really call it a button. It's more like crouching is connected to the analog stick, the same analog stick that you use to roam around to move the protagonist. And the problem with having crouching being connected to the analog stick, when you want to run, when you want to walk around, especially when you're dealing with wild Pokemon or you're dealing with rogue wild mega evolved Pokemon, and enemies are constantly attacking you, you don't want to crouch. You want to keep running. You want to keep moving. So, an easy solution for that is crouching should have been its own button. It shouldn't have been connected to the analog stick, the same analog stick that you use to move around. Crouching should have been its own button. And yeah, you could always go ahead and say, oh, well, just don't put too much pressure on the analog stick when you're moving around. That's little to impossible. Because as human beings, when we're in a stressful situation, you're going to press a button a lot harder than you need to. You're going to move the analog stick a lot harder, strenuous than you need to. When you are dealing with random wild Pokemon, when you are dealing with rogue mega evolved Pokemon, you are considered in a stressful situation in the game. Because if the protagonist, that's you, take enough damage, you will black out and you could lose items and you could lose money. And nobody wants to go through that when you're playing the game. So by far, you are in a stressful situation. Crouching should have been put on a button. Another issue with Legends is EA. Like what Zay said, when you have your Pokemon give an attack, the trainer will pause to do a pose to give that attack. Why am I posing when I'm giving an attack? This is a game, this is an action RPG game where shit is happening in real time. This is not turn based. So I constantly have to move. Why the fuck am I paused to give a command and my trainer, the protagonist, can take damage? Like I said, if I take enough damage, I black out, the battle ends, I lose money and I lose resources, and the Pokemon I was trying to catch, I lose out on catching that Pokemon. It's as if when they made Legends ZA, they did not beta test the game, they just put it on the shelves. When you make a game, you are supposed to beta test it, not just for bugs and glitches, but also for the gameplay control to be smooth and for shit to make sense. And I don't think Game Freak beta tests their games. I think once the game is done, they ship it out. And
I will disagree there. I do think that there is a beta testing. That's how they're able to fine tune certain mechanics to make the overall game look better, such as Gigantamaxing. They've asked a good amount of people, or they've let a good amount of people play it just to highlight the fact that, okay, your Pokemon can be 100 times bigger and use moves that can't get blocked. I'm pretty sure there was a consensus about that. But quality or quantity? Are we going to produce something? Is this a company that's going to produce something that's going to be good for all or good for the masses that only support them just because that mass in itself is the ignorant? Sorry to say, but it is. When you get online and you vouch for a game that you know is not good and try to get other people to play it, when you don't even get a check for it, it's stupidity. It's
Basic,
stupidity.
basically, what you're saying is there probably are people that beta test the game, but the people that's beta testing the Pokemon games, they're the fucking faggot ass cocksuckers of Pokemon. They're not, genuine fans like you and I, people that will look at Pokemon objectively. If it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. If we like it, we say we like it. If we don't like it, we say we don't like it. And we'll
Correct.
explain why. We don't dick ride off of Pokemon. We don't kiss Pokemon's ass. Pokemon is a company like any other and they make mistakes. And a lot of people
Why
in the Pokemon community, they act as though Pokemon's shit doesn't stink, and it really does. It's been stinking
why
for a
can't we
while now.
fit all the mons in one game? That's why I'm still having such hard time understanding it. We are in another stage of gaming with Nintendo, and we still yet cannot seem to produce enough space to put all the Pokemon in one game. So why are we catching all of them to input some of them?
Facts.
That's the major question. And
Mm,
now, if you're selling a slogan, if you have a brand and your slogan doesn't fit the product, then what do you do with that?
right.
You
I
give
remember
out.
that meme, the gotta catch some of them meme. I remember that shit.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah, because you're like, come on, man. And these people give you half-emptied games, and then you guys say, thank you, Game Freak. That's like you coming to my store and you bought something for $3. You gave me 20, and I gave you $2, and I told you to thank you for being a paying customer. Like, that's exactly what you did. Like that's see, if you can laugh at that, then you know this is exactly what we've all done. Because I'm a part of it too. I'm not impartial to myself. I am coming off of the Pokemon craze. I am. I would consider it being blind with no sense of smell because you could clearly smell that this is like a cash grab. Like I already knew Champions was a cash grab and it wasn't going to be that good. I will say it because of this. Anybody that has seen any of the Pokemon Day advertisements, the shows, the clips, they give XD and Coliseum no love at all, like an estranged
Facts.
child. They
Facts.
treat it they treat it like somebody said, I'm gonna get milk and cigarettes and never came back. They never came back to Genius
Facts.
Seniority. That's the sad part. Um, and then they try to replace it with stadium-like games, which essentially was the Coliseum games from beginning, if you really want to clock it like that. Uh, man, can I tell you, it was such a disappointment to see that Battle Revolution had better grit and mechanics than what we playing today.
Champions, right?
Yes, yes. It's just bad. It's just all around bad. Now, how has those forums been going for the general public?
Eh,
Have they been listening to the general public? Yeah, I asked for Gen 2, and they gave you a a port from sorry. I'm trying to be so nice right now. I really am.
Bro,
Really
bro, bro. Let the inner hood come out, bro. Let the inner hood come out. Fuck this nice shit. People want to hear the truth.
uh
I don't give a fuck who gets offended. Let the inner hood
we
come
we're
out.
we're 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 over here buying badass games, man. This shit is terrible, bro. You can't even be good with the purchase. Like the DLC wasn't worth it. Let me tell you, you bought the DLC for ZA, and to those that agreed that it was a good DLC, how? How? First of all,
Dog
if you
shit.
played the fucking game, then you gotta know to some of you guys, why is Darkrai in there? Why did you throw a random on that had nothing to do with it? And mind you, let's talk about post-game DLC, which didn't make sense. You get Groudon and Kyogre, but you can't get on the water. You really can't get in any kind of open bed of water. You're stuck in one city. So there's a flying Kyogre just running around in buildings that you could just regularly like just maneuver with and nothing out of the ordinary. Sad. They should have kept it to Arceus, and they should have moved on with just a remake of Gen 2 the proper way.
Right.
Probably did another Legend Celebi or something
Hmm.
and kept it moving. But they never do that.
Right.
Um, I think I've had too many conversations with you because you know what? I have so much shit I really want to say, but I know there's not enough time. There's not enough time.
We could we
But
we could we could make a part two to this, like put
no,
up the part one and
we're gonna rough draft this shit, and tomorrow we're gonna redo it better because I feel like this is just getting our feet wet. I want to be a little bit more put to the task and straightforward with it when we do it the first way. Like I want to do it, put my best foot forward with this. If I'm going to say a message, I want it to be clear and concise and not playful because at the end of the day, we are serious about this shit. Like something's got to change or you're going to lose the following that you had. If we keep buying these stupid ass games, you're just sending a message that capitalism wins at the end of the day, and it's no longer about the content of the actual product, which is terrible.
bruh, I have to because another thing is the Zoom meeting. Apparently there's limits to the Zoom meeting, so it's like I probably have to cancel it and open it back up. It's like the Zoom meeting is telling me I have like 8 minutes left. But anyway, uh if we are gonna do a part two or if we are gonna continue this tomorrow, might as well say what we gotta say right now. So let me
Like,
mention
this is just like a rough draft though. This is
right,
not what we're gonna redo all this shit though,
right,
but we could take what we're saying from this and actually write the shit down
right,
and be able to be more topic based and more um structured in conversation because the
right.
way that we're talking is kind of like broken up, especially me. It's very broken up and scattered. So
Yeah, like for starters, ZA. We didn't even talk about the graphics of ZA. We didn't even talk about the frame rate issues of ZA. So
because yeah,
there's
because
still
there's
stuff
still
to
a lot of
piss and
stuff to
shit
talk
on
about.
ZA,
Yeah,
right? And
but
that's just ZA. And then after ZA, we still gotta talk about the downgrade of quality in Pokemon during the 3DS era, but the 3DS era was still acceptable. And then we got to talk about the unacceptable era, the Pokemon apocalypse. That was Generation 8. Definitely got to talk about like Pokemon Sword and shit. Sword and Shield, Sword and shit. Enough of me being polite
nah,
now.
bro. I think the apocalypse literally started with X and Y. It was the only dumbass plot that we have gotten in a very long time. I'm not gonna lie, a very long time.
Nah, man. Pokemon Generation 6, it was it was bad, but it wasn't unacceptable bad. So
It was terrible bad. This man,
I wouldn't say Gen 6 started the apocalypse. I would agree with Shofu when Shofu says that Pokemon Generation 6, that was when Pokemon started to drop in quality. I will agree with Shofu when he said that. But the apocalypse, nah, the apocalypse was definitely Gen 8. Gen 8 was definitely the apocalypse. All the Pokemon are no longer in the games. These graphics are dog shit. You're
now
selling
here's the thing.
you're selling Pokemon for $60+, right? Graphics, animations aren't exactly impressive. Maybe there's a few moments where graphics and animations was impressive, but bruh, there's no evil organization. Yeah, Lysandre Team Flare was retarded, but at least they were an organization. There is no fucking evil organization in Gen 8, bro.
So here
What the
begs the
fuck
bigger
is
question.
Team Yell?
Would you rather be a would you rather play a game about a retarded organization? Or would you rather play a game without a retarded organization, but just with some over emotional Dawson's Creek shit. Like that's what it was. It was Degrassi in that motherfucker for
Yo, nigga
Scarlet
said
Violet.
Degrassi,
It was
bro.
it was Degrassi because let me tell you why. These people were so it's stupid. You have to battle them for them to understand the shit they already knew. They
Mhm.
already knew they were outcasts. They already knew they weren't bad people, but they would try to make it so that they were just to be protected because when they weren't, they were getting bullied. And it's crazy. One battle can make you have a change of mind just like that from a nigga that don't even have voice acting. Mind you, it's like talking to Link. This is what I feel like. It's like talking to Link. Like I just feel like Pokemon could be at such a greater height and they let us down because we know they'll know we'll buy it at the end of the day. We have a word that describes people like that. I could say it the nice way and be like the morally deprived, or I could say it the way I know how to say it, but retarded. It's got to be insanity and retardation somewhere. It's
Bro,
got to be.
bro, let me mention
Hold on,
this.
hold on.
Let me
One more thing. You know what kills me? The
what?
people that have all the high expectation, they get on YouTube and they want to gas up the game so much. And mind you, Game Freak never says none of this shit. They never say none of this shit. And everybody believes it. Do you know what we call that? Gullible. You are gullible. You'll take anything anybody say. You shouldn't even have a YouTube account if you believe shit like that. Because then, like, God knows what be put on there. Seriously. And we're gonna call a spade, and we're talking, chat. If you have a real cousin, a real dad, a real mom, anybody
Uh-huh.
that can keep it honest with you, conversations like these would happen where it's like, think about what you just did. You just sold your house for three magic beans. Did that make sense? Like that's what we did. We for
Three
a low
magic beans.
price of $59.99 plus tax, we gave away our integrity as gamers to say that the standard should be right here. This is what you stood for at one point. Give us this now. Give us this. Y'all, y'all weird. Y'all want them to do all this miraculous shit when they never told you that was the direction that they were going.
Facts.
Like, man, it's bad. It's bad. And you know
Really
why?
is.
You got other games on other platinum on other platforms that are really going like the mile for their fan base. I just want to give a real good shout out to Expedition 33. That game is immaculate. Like artistry, story, immaculate. And I know there are two different genres, two different platforms. I get that, but like the one thing that they both share is that they're both games. Where's the love for that game? Where's the love for it?
Bro, let me
If
hurry up and say
Lysandre being handicapped is the biggest threat you got in the game, that is ZA. You got a handicapped homeless man following you around, telling you that he made a grave mistake and he can't die. That's crazy. That's crazy. You know what that sounds like? Tell me this don't make sense. Um, we have to solve an energy crisis that won't happen in the foreseeable future, but beyond that, it could happen. So I got to do stupid stuff right now
that's
and summon the
J
dragon.
that's sword and shit. That's sword and shit. Bro, let me hurry up and talk about sword and shit because we got like a minute left. So like sword and shit, right? All the Mons ain't in the game. Meanwhile, it's the first ever true generation home console Pokemon game. How the fuck is it that Gen 7 Ultra Sun and Moon on the 3DS has more everything than Pokemon Generation 8 Sword and shit? Meanwhile, Masuda, this bane of Pokemon's existence, is saying shit like, oh, it can't fit in the game because of graphics and animations. Bro, you are reusing assets. You are
You got to get that
reusing
man up out of there.
assets and you are just putting everything in HD. Meanwhile, we got a bunch of gay ass, faggot ass motherfuckers on Twitter saying shit like, oh, thank you, Game Freak. Thank you, Game Freak. I mean, don't get me wrong. The people that was dishing out death threats and that was harassing Masuda when Masuda was at a homie's wedding, that's going really far. But still, like, bruh, what are we doing here? and
I
and
mean, I
irony, the
mean,
irony is that people like to forget what happened with Gen 8. Bro, I will never forget that shit. I was there. I was on
Oh,
Twitter, bro. I was on Facebook. I remember that shit. You
you
try to
know what's
have a
so crazy?
conversation with people and people trying to fucking defend it. I was there, bro. I saw that shit. This
I
community
love,
is
I
sick.
love,
It's sick.
I love, I love how I mean not X and Y, Sword and Shield, they told you, hey, we can't fit no more characters in the game, and then they released the DLC. In case we didn't know it, the DLC is an expansion.